Little video on flying geese. First thing you can do is a template. They're printed 2 on an A4. I'll cut it in half for quickness. Just quick. Got the flying geese plus 1/4 inch. Using paper scissors, don't use the same scissors as you use for your fabric, they blunt them. So, first thing we do is we have first fabric. Now it has to go on the back, but it has to face out of the way. And then we want to make sure it covers that, or that triangle, because that's the first section. Right there. Now we've got to cover this part. So we get our second little square, or offcut, or scrap. 2 the same. I usually do 2 the same. Obviously you could do them opposite borders. And I usually tilt you a bit, lay them on the top like that, so it well covers. I've got enough here for 2 actually, you know, or you can turn it up away like that and just have a little geek underneath. Just make sure it covers the point and a bit of the border there, even though we're going to trim that off. Okay, put that on to the side, put it over there, because not the first time I've lost it. So flip it over, make sure there's no creases, no folds, or it caught in it, because I've been caught like that many a time. See, flapping like that. Hold the 2 together. This fabric, the orange fabrics, can go anyway. It's a batik, so it can go either side. I don't have to be fussy. There's some from the corner. Hold on, let's get you on there. Sewing machine help. I need a new gizmo, Ian. Need a new gizmo because this one doesn't swivel. It tilts. It doesn't swivel. So if I zoom in a bit, give us a sec. Amateur here. Why can't I zoom in? God knows. Anyway, we'll leave it like that for a minute. As I say, I'm learning. Oh, I should be able to do that. Hold on. No. What's that one do? God knows. Why can't I zoom in? Oh, look at the rocks, he does this. Can't zoom in. Should be able to zoom in. So it's on the corner, and I'm covering to the point. I've got my stitches at 1.8. The machine usually starts at 2.4, but you want it nice and tight so you can easily rip the paper off later. So just slow down near the point, because you don't want to go over, because that's where you want a nice crisp point. A couple of stitches back stitch I always do on this point. And my machine cuts automatically, so it's a great help. So I've done that line to there. Then what I do is we're going to trim it. So we fold the paper back on that sewing line, give it a crease. This is ordinary printer paper, so it doesn't rip easily like foundation paper. Make sure that none of this is over there, because that's the bit that's going to cover the triangle. Put it there. I'm not going to put the phone to the cutting mat, but you cut 1/4 inch with the ruler and the rotary cutter. So I will show it when I get a bit better at this new technology. So we cut it like that. Then we fold it over back to the right, you know, of the original, and then we're going to flip that orange over. Finger press it or nail press it, or both. Some people use a little iron or an iron and that, but it's quicker and easier if you've got an hand and don't mind doing it. So that's our first half of the triangle. Then we get a second piece, and all we do is more or less line it up with there. And I say I like to, you know, make sure that doesn't wobble too far. Make sure it comes to there as well, so it's good going over that 1/4 inch. that line there is the actual sewing line when you sew it to another piece of fabric. So you want to get it right over there. And again, flip it over, keep it tidy, keep it flat, because it's, again, this wobbles or this wobbles, you get it caught. And we're going to do the second triangle line. So again, from the corner up to the middle. Again, slow at the end, because we don't want to go over, because this is what makes our beautiful crisp point. Cut, take it out, and flip your paper over and crease again. So this is the one we're going to cut. Again, it's being a matter careful, make sure you hold that to that. I've done all this, put that over there and you cut it, so I try and do it, or this part. So keep it all nice and tidy. To your cutting mat, little ruler, 1/4 inch. Rotary cutter. In fact, I heard a designer likes an 1/8 of an inch, but that's just too thin for me. I don't think that's enough room. Put your paper back into its original place. Lay that down again. Flip that back. You got all that, but don't worry about that. Just crease it there. So that's our first triangle, okay? Now, we're going to get this a little bit bigger bit I usually picked. I pick any colour, I don't give a damn. Just something that takes your fancy. I like going on instinct. I don't pre-plan. What we'll do is, with a point, make sure that's at least 1/4 inch. It could be 1/2 inch, it could be, because there's our next triangle, so we've got more than enough fabric to cover that. A nice straight line. Again, hold it nice and tight, flip it over, make sure it doesn't flop out of place when you're putting it onto the bed. Put the needle. And this time, if I could zoom in, we want to go past the point. We want to just skim the point. The line's on it, and if you haven't gone over in the previous 2 lines on the triangle, you'll be fine. So just take that extra care over that triangle. Now this one I don't backstitch, because I know it's going to be covered later on with the edging when we join it to because it's a border, it's going to, you know, join onto another piece of fabric. So cut that off. So we flip that back on its straight line. Okay. Again, on the mat, don't fluff it around, hold it nice. 1/4 inch, and a rotary cutter. And there we go. Right, so fold it back, paper back, and we're gonna push that up, finger press, and there's a beautiful crisp triangle. And that's all we do all the way along. So if I get 2 other pieces, see, little squares, you know, it can even be smaller than that, as long as it covers that area. So I flick that back just to make sure I know where the line is. Make sure I'm over the triangle up here. You know, I've got loads of room, and I'm over the border here. Flip the whole lot over. So we're doing this one here. Excuse me. Again, we're doing the first side of the triangle. Up to the point, little reverse. 1, 2, 3 stitches just to hold it. Just that little bit of security I like. I don't know if anyone else does it, but I do that. Finger press again. Okay, there's the first half of our triangle. Lay that flat, get our next bit. Again, I've used batik actually, so I didn't have to worry about sides, because I've done that. I've put it upside down as well, inside out. I don't pick it. Some fabrics you can leave the reverse, as long as you do the other side, if you want that done. So, there it is, laying there. I've lined it up with that, so I know that one's safe, so that's fine. So I'll flip it over. This is the triangle I'm doing. You'll see what I've done previous. Drop your foot. Actually, I've got a 1/4 inch foot on there, I didn't realise. So, up to the point. One more stitch for me. Reverse. And cut. Okay. Now, my cut machine cuts itself, it's great. No long threads, no wasting threads. So flick your paper over, crease it right to the end, a whole lot. You know everything's hunky-dory. It's when you start flapping it around and then you think, oh, what goes where, and in a pickle. Then I'm cutting that 1/4 inch off with my ruler. I'm cutting that with a rotary thing. Put your paper back and finger crease. Bits of cotton everywhere. Right, so now we're going to pick another wider bit. Let's see what comes to hand here. I've got a lovely table full of fabrics and laying everywhere. So again, you can see my point. I'm going to put this at least a 1/4 inch above it. You can go like that, tilt it up and have a look. It's covering my borders. I know I'm fine. Whole lot, flick it over. Make sure it doesn't get screwed up when you're sliding it under the foot. And there we go again. Past the point. And again, I don't cut this part. I just don't backstitch this part because I know it's going to be covered later. Put your paper back. Sometimes, like, if you're not too sure, I just go like that. Just to make sure it covers it from there as well. Don't have to worry about these. It's just so it hits that point there. That point there. Finger press. Get your threads out of the way. Ton of threads. And there's the point again. Alright, that one's not too, it's not the exact perfect thing. But I'm on the millions around the border. Nobody's going to notice. Nobody's going to notice. I'm going to cut 2 of this yellow now. See, I've got a 2.5 inch. Excuse me. So I'm going to cut 2 of them. I mean, I've got 2.5, 2 little blocks here that I cut for something else in the past, and they would do just as well if you pick one, you know. I usually use them, but I just wanted to show cutting them. So again, I know I've got a lot, and some people trim them, but I thought, oh no, that's too dicey, I'd rather leave it to it. So, no my luck, I'll cut the wrong bit. Cut it too short, it won't cover, so I know that's going to cover now. Look it over. And again, to the point. Back stitch, couple, and cut. Not the other one because I'll lose it. I've ended up in my bin, on my floor, bad back, can't get it. So, ready to cut. And there's my 1/4 inch. Flick it over and finger press back. Same with the other piece. So again, like I said before, I take it up more or less on the line. You know, I could take it right down to there because I know that triangle's like right down there. So I'll get the whole lot. Go where you flick it over. It takes a bit of time when you first start to learn this. I'm not that experienced myself, but like anything in life, the more you do it, the easier it gets. So we're right on the dot there, a couple of stitches back, cut stick of paper. And cut a 1/4 inch. Put the paper back. I don't mind using printer paper because it doesn't fall apart. Foundation paper I found like tears so easy, like, you know, if you're doing this kind of thing, that I like just using printer paper. I heard there's copier paper you can use as well, but I don't know about that. As I say, I'm pretty new to this. Right, let's get another colour just to see this. Make sure you get it the right way, because it's not the first time. This one, there is a reverse. And I put it on backwards and not being happy. A lot of unpicking. But that's part of quilting. Part of quilting. All the fun apparently. Past our line, past our dot. Point. I'll get the right word in a minute. Again, I don't backstitch. I cut the paper back, but I'm just going to pull it up to show you the point again. And that's the point there. And that's what we do all the way up. That one's a bit top, but by then, you know, you'll know this is the join, obviously, to the next row. And if I show you, there's one that's completed, but it hasn't been trimmed at the sides. So, you know, you don't get a good effect. Looks a bit higgity-piggity, but when you trim it, the magic starts. The magic starts. I love them. There you go. And it's just using old scraps. I mean, I've got a little scrap here. And I know I can use that on one of them little triangles. Got to find a matching one, but it'll work. See? So I've got about 8 or 10 there, I can't remember. So there's a couple. You can put them into blocks if you want. You can make a double border. Yeah, so I hope that shows you how to make flying geese, and Ian, how much time it takes. So it's taken me about half an hour, 20 minutes to half an hour to make each one. But it's worth it, it's worth it. Catch you later, bye.